Oh, you nappy-headed bitches out there, this one's for you. I mean, I know what you're going through. My hair doesn't just become this. It doesn't just act like this. My hair looks like someone shaved off Don King's pubes and hot glued them on my head. I got some tips.
This is the first video I've ever watched of St. Dawson, and it was shown to me by my older cousin, and it's a typical hair tutorial video mixed in with that classic St. Dawson humor.
There you go. Hope you took some notes. Take a shower. Find the cheapest, most ghetto hair product you can. Turn your straightener up all the way. If you see smoke and you smell your hair burning, that's good. And wear a beanie to sleep.
Ever since then, it's been interesting seeing how his content changed, evolved, and became less controversial, and even so him getting into more and more controversies. This video essay, documentary, commentary isn't an explosive video on St. Dawson, nor is it a defense video of St. Dawson. Rather is my thesis on why St. Dawson's career was allowed and how the popular narrative that he is a racist, mastermind, pedo is based on exaggerated pretenses.
I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you. Come along and see it's true, but the world is pretty cold, you might need a sweater too. I'ma put a ride on ya, kid from California, trying to make it in life. In school they never taught ya, dreams of my own. I've been working from home, I can do it on my own, but sometimes it gets cold like
Our story begins with a young, fit, aspiring YouTuber known as St. Dawson. No, not really. Our story actually begins with an overweight high schooler named St. Lee. Called Hitler High School, this is one of the earliest videos of St. Dawson that he made alongside his friends as a school project. Unlike many creators these days, St. Dawson's passion for filmmaking preceded the existence of YouTube itself, him showing a vested interest in the art of filmmaking from a young age. The humor in these videos nearly being identical to Saint's later videos and skits, that being humor derived from shock and absurd scenarios. Absurdist humor highlights the ridiculousness of life, pushing normally accepted realities to nonsense extremes, giving the audience a fresh perspective. Shock humor is humor that is intended to shock the audience. It challenges social values and is intended to cause controversy. Because of its nature, jokes of these types are intentionally anti-PC and usually cause some sort of outrage. All of the times the punchline isn't even in the joke, rather the punchline is the reaction of people who are outraged at the joke. On September 21st, 2005, Saint created his first YouTube channel called Saint, which mainly served as a host for the short films and school projects that he produced in earlier years. On 10th March of 2008, Saint created the channel known as St. Dawson TV after noticing that his old channel started getting some attention.
YouTubers. In case you don't know me, my name is Shane. Nice to meet you. All that stuff. Seriously, between work and trying to be an actor and all that stuff, I just need something else. So, here's the plan. I'm going to have this site, SDTV, which is all over the background right now. So, basically, it's just a video blog thing. I mean, every week or couple days, depending on how bloggy I'm feeling, there'll be a new video. Just random stuff. I mean, this is just an introduction. It's gonna get more exciting, I promise.
In this channel, Shane would upload original skit videos for YouTube. His videos were mainly comedic in nature, carrying the same absurdist and shock humor. While it may fall under the blanket term satire, it wasn't really that ironic in nature, rather it was being outlandish and offensive for the sake of being outlandish and offensive. His skits also had an ensemble of characters, mostly played by himself, that played on stereotypes, and most of his humor were mostly racial and sexual in nature, mostly pushing the line in what would be considered taboo areas. His staple jokes including blackface, jokes about pedophilia, bestiality, and other raunchy, angsty jokes that he made. With the nature of his content, it's hard to comprehend on how his channel was not only allowed on the platform, but was also able to succeed on the platform. Saying that it was a different time back then is an half-assed response, as jokes of such nature were far from the norm back then. And to truly understand on how Sane's humor thrived, we need to understand the internet counterculture. Once something becomes a popular norm or the culture in a way, a group of people that oppose the dominant values and behavior become more and more prominent. It happened with wrestling during the Attitude Era and the Simpsons in TV shows, and around 2005 the internet was a hub for edgy counterculture. By 2008 a sort of culture and an ecosystem was already settled down on YouTube and built around YouTube, so it was naturally the perfect time for a counterculture of sorts to become more prominent. When Sane started uploading, there was a large untapped market for people who rebelled against and rejected mainstream PC content, and Sane Dawson filled that void. And because of this, Sane was propelled to YouTube's upper echelon. Sane quickly became the alternative creator on YouTube. Whilst Moss and Fred had a more family-friendly approach, Sane Dawson fulfilled the demands of an older fan base that wanted a bit more edge.
Invite the black neighbors over to play in my pool doesn't mean I'm racist. Means I'm careful.
Aside from inspiring other creators with a similar style, Sane Dawson had established himself as YouTube's top creators. Actually, he was the third most subscribed channel by 2010. The more extreme his jokes got,
oh nigga, bitch, monkey woman,
the more attention he got. Before I had mentioned on how Sane Dawson had a different ensemble of characters, well, the more popular the character became, the more recurring that character became. In a way, Sanene would not have been used as much if it weren't for the fact that she was very popular among Sane's audience.
The reason Shane Dawson got fired from that job, in my opinion, was because his content at that time was way over the limit. The content that we're seeing now resurfacing was the content that he made back then. Of course he got fired. I would fire him.
Some of Sane's critics to this site is firing from Jenny Craig as to prove his content was not appropriate even back then. However, that's not entirely the truth. In reality, Sane had gotten fired for a video that he had recorded during work where he was very unprofessional, made fun of the company, and claimed that their weight loss program was not effective.
So, from the Jenny Craig staff, here is Valerie Bertinelli, losing it. For my son, Wolfie. Aww. She asked me how experienced I was. I said that except for my 9th grade boyfriend when I was shoving my head in his crotch. Actually, he already dumped me before I got to try that. I laughed. I was still a virgin.
Raised in a rock and roll milieu, she had learned to roll a joint when she was still in grade school, and by 12 had used both pot and LSD.
Dave had fired himself up with plenty of Jack Daniels. I forgot the fucking words.
Okay, so I'm in my office right now. Take a look. There's my little starboard. All these people gain their way back. Shh, don't tell anybody.
As the video started getting some attention and was seen by his manager, it's possible that he had gotten fired as a way to avoid a PR disaster, and it's highly unlikely the company ran a background check on Sane's other videos. Sane had established a sort of brand for himself, this edgy comedian that would mostly target taboo subjects. If anything was off limits and considered to be immoral, Sane would have probably joked about it. His brand of this angsty, raunchy rebel made his videos contain blackface, constant joke and reference to pedophilia, bestiality and a lot of self-deprecation. He repeatedly made jokes of such nature because it was his brand. Sane's excuse of making such jokes and content has been deemed by his critics to be done retroactively and only done to save face, but in a video that he made years ago for a joke that had little to none outrage, he had the same reasoning.
They're like, oh, you're making fun of cutting, and I'm not. So I deal with things with comedy. As some of you guys might know, and some of you don't, I dealt with depression a lot. These last 4 years, before I started YouTube, I lost, obviously, you guys already know, a couple 100 pounds. And I was dealing with that. And losing that much weight that fast fucks with your head enormously. and I was a mess, and I was depressed, but YouTube to me has been a way to get away from my problems, but it also is keeping me from dealing with my problems. So like every time I'm depressed, instead of dealing with it, I make a video. So when people were getting mad at me saying, oh God, Shane, you don't care about us, you don't care about depression, you don't care about cutting. It's like, well, no, I do. Obviously, I deal with it firsthand. But the way I deal with it is by making jokes about it. I make jokes about eating disorders. I make jokes about white people, black people, fat people, skinny people, depressed people, not depressed people. I make jokes about everybody because that's kind of, you know, if you can't laugh at yourself, then what the fuck is the point of living? That's the way I look at it.
So for me, it's highly unlikely that this is a play of manipulation, as it seems pretty genuine in this clip and it has always been consistent. When he brings up this point, it does not absolve him from making heinous content, rather it clears up the fact that he made these jokes as a way to deal with his past, not because he's a pedophile. Shane's brand would also extend beyond his sketches. See, YouTube back then was a bit different for personalities. People would watch and be in tune for weird and wacky characters from the web. Influencers were less of genuine people but were a character that people would play, and a part of the appeal was the speculation if the character was real or not. Some examples include Dax Flames, Lonely Girl 15 and Fred. And when it came to Shane, it was the same angsty, raunchy, edgy style of his sketches that he adapted and carried over towards this character, which would prove to be very volatile given the fact that his audience was growing, and as it expanded it went from including mostly young adults to a much more younger audience. It was also not a wise move for him to play the same character in his podcast in a way to shock and sensationalize his listeners. His videos and interactions with fans have all aged extremely poorly.
However, another clip has come out with Shane Dawson where he is kissing a 12-year-old fan. But basically the fan goes up to him and says, like, I'm a huge fan, like, I want my first kiss to be with Shane Dawson, and Shane Dawson gives her a peck on the lips. Now, there's a similar, like, thing that happened with Carrie Underwood, where she brought a 12-year-old boy, like, on stage and gave him his first kiss. And there's more examples of other celebrities doing the same similar thing. In my opinion, I don't think it's predatory behavior. I think it's an innocent, like, trying to help a fan out or whatever. Still weird, don't get me wrong. It's a little weird, but I think stuff like that was way more acceptable like 7-10 years ago.
At the end of the day, his videos were meant to be jokes. No matter how distasteful they were and find it funny or not, you cannot change the fact that it was intended to be funny and it was intended nothing more than just jokes. Similarly, you cannot assert the fact that Shane is a pedophile or racist on the basis of his videos, because it's more than likely that he was playing a character, having a persona rather than his true actual self.
It is something I did for shock value, or because I thought it was funny, or like, oh my god, my child molester character, or whatever. It's all gross.
The whole YouTube thing is almost a character. The real Shane is not confident at all.
I am sorry that I used to make really shitty fucking jokes. I am sorry that I was so fucking like insecure and like playing this character of this guy who's like crazy and will say anything and like tries to make people laugh by shocking them. That was my thing. That was what I did on YouTube. A lot of people now don't know that.
It's not a pattern of behavior, as it was not his actual behavior, rather it was his brand and his facade. In short, don't be mad at him for being a racist or a pedophile. Be mad at him for making racist jokes and jokes that included pedophilia. I personally find videos in where he included actual minors to be very appalling, even if Shane is a pedophile or not. Regardless.
H&M? Girl, ooh, that sounds dirty. That sounds rough. H&M. Good job, Lucy! But next time, shake your titties more. And you, take off the jacket and show more. And Lucy, I checked my statistics and I have a lot of child molesters watching, so can you please eat a cocktail weenie? Do it slow. Oh. Oh, I like that chocolate, that weenie. Okay, give her a lap dance. Oh my god! Do it. I blow everybody a kiss like you're a mermaid. That was the worst kiss I've ever seen. That was terrible. I would never have sex with you. Titties. Oh man. Man, 12-year-old. Oh, chocolate's getting in them. I didn't know 12-year-olds develop that fast. Wait, let chocolate lick your boobs. Look at. Wow.
Mr. Hollywood, won't you come back soon? She said, Mr. Hollywood, won't you come back soon?
It was obvious from the get-go that Shane didn't just want to be a YouTuber, but wanted to use his platform as a launching ground for his initial and first passion being filmmaking. In late 2010, a TV show known as ft.IHE was supposedly in the works with the backing of Sony. However, this show never saw the day of light. Later, Shane would also feature in a horrible horror show called Smiley, but his role wasn't that significant.
Apparently this is a horror movie with a bunch of YouTubers in it.
Are you serious? Oh, it's amazing. I mean, that's terrible, obviously, but...
Shane Dawson, Tobuscus, and a bunch of other ones. So I'm very excited to see. I bet it's great, because you know YouTubers in movies, they have a really great track record. This movie was released in 2012, and it has some glowing reviews online.
On April 4, 2014, Shane would announce and reveal that he had been working on an actual feature-length movie that was supposedly professional and was going to hit the big screen. His movie Not Cool would release to a very negative critic reactions.
The New York Times saying that Not Cool is, quote, an attempt at raunchy comedy that is so poorly executed and unfunny that no one involved with it should ever be allowed to work in the movies again, unquote.
Not Cool is a great film, but only if they change the definition of great to the worst. I was personally insulted by this movie, like actually straight up insulted on so many levels. And the fact this is not a free hour-and-a-half long video on Shane Dawson's YouTube channel only worsens the blow. If you didn't know already, Shane Dawson is a YouTuber who specializes in screaming
Epic pool party, motherfucker!
and generally being quite loud. I honestly don't really know what he does. Vlogging, I guess? I suppose if that's your thing, that's cool. But does this man work on the big screen in a professionally made movie?
Epic pool party!
The answer to that question rhymes with mess. Wait, no, sorry, I meant toe! When you have Amazon reviews for this movie headlining with "Poop is funny, people! Wake up!" you probably know exactly what kind of adventure we're in for here. If there's anything I absolutely hate, it's modern American high school comedies. They all have that poster with the white background, unpleasant juvenile humor, and the subtlety of Logic's song about suicide.
Who can relate? Woo!
I simply don't find them very funny, and without that aspect working for me, there is effectively nothing else to appreciate. So imagine the worst high school comedy you've ever seen, now multiply its terribleness by about 400, add an extra dash of obnoxious and a hatred for people who are worse off than you, and bazinga!
Shane's raunchy, angsty, edgy comedy didn't translate to the big screen, and his lack of directorial and acting experience really showed in the movie. Other than that, there's nothing much to say about the movie. It's distasteful, but it's not as despicable as a lot of people are portraying it to be right now. And the worst scene is the one where the homeless man eats his own shit. I'm not sure if that's a racial stereotype, but Shane as himself said that it didn't matter if the casting was a black man or not, so I guess I'll give him the benefit of the doubt here. The movie's just
terrible, 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 terrible content.
The movie was actually a part of a bigger project called The Chair. The concept being that two creators would make a feature-length film with similar budget and adapting the same screenplay. Shane representing the modern web star that was trying to branch out into films, and A.M. Lucas representing the more traditional filmmaker. The end result being that one movie was pretty good and the other movie was
terrible, 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 terrible content.
The Chair also revealed a much more meaner side of Shane Dawson.
Somebody out there is a rat and they're going around saying this is the raunchiest movie ever made and it's pissing me the off.
And he says, look, I'm gonna be honest with you, I've had clients that have gone online, watched Shane's stuff, and said, I don't wanna be a part of that.
When I was an actor, I was auditioning for everything. I don't quite understand the logic of being picky when you have no job.
Well, no, but that's the problem. They do have jobs. And one woman in particular who's a professor who's up for tenure.
Well, then why am I seeing professors? Where are the actors?
It's a smaller, more limited talent pool than out of New York or LA.
Can't find actors. If we can't find crew, then how are we gonna fix this to make Pittsburgh look great? Because Zach Quinto ain't doing anything.
It's been mentioned many, many times that is a problem for people. So if we just like lose that, I'm just saying.
I'm not taking anything out of the movie to please a bunch of out-of-work actors in Pittsburgh who should be lucky to get an audition for a feature film. No director has ever taken anything out of a movie to get somebody to audition. I'm angry that we're finding out about this 2 days before we start filming the movie. I don't know.
But it's important to know that The Chair was actually a documentary-styled reality TV show, and Shane was playing the role of the antagonist, and many aspects of the show was more dramatized to make better entertainment. Ultimately, the producers messed it up by choosing the winner through online polls, the problem being that it shifted the whole dynamic of the show. Shane was more popular but not at all experienced, and Lucas was more experienced but less popular. Rather than making it more balanced, making it more fair, making it online just made it a popularity contest, and as you can guess, Shane won the votes. And even when Shane's votes were disqualified, he still had the lead, and it didn't change the outcome.
Give me all your clues and things to guide me through the end of the world.
From 2014 to 2016, Shane had strayed away from his sketch videos and his first major controversy, putting his past content to rest.
When Sam Pepper, a large content creator, filmed a prank video of him pinching women's butts, many outraged viewers called for repercussions for his recorded sexual harassment. This caused the video to be removed, him to be dropped from his network, and also be banned from VidCon. With many large content creators speaking out about this, some asked why others guilty of scandalous activity weren't getting similar treatment, which was eventually directed at Shane Dawson for his use of blackface, jokes about minors, and other controversial, scandalous things he said on camera, starting on Twitter with people calling him out on this. One of, if not the most prominent, was Francesca Ramsey, that took note of that while he did take most of his videos that included blackface down, there were still a few on his channel, and some others archived that demonstrated these scandalous activities. Shane eventually giving in and responding directly to Francesca Ramsey in a long series of tweets that act as larger note.
While D'Angelo might tell you that Shane was actively trying to hide any criticism and bad press, that's simply not the case.
Time no see. Today I wanted to talk about using racism for comedic efforts here on YouTube and some of the stuff that's been going on this week and how I got wrapped up in it. A video went viral here on YouTube of a prank where women...
The reason why Francesca's video didn't get much traction is because she uploaded the video after Shane Dawson's apology video. She didn't mention Shane Dawson in the video itself. She didn't mention Shane Dawson in the title. She didn't mention Shane Dawson in the description. In actuality, Shane himself had mentioned Francesca and directly apologized to her. So this isn't really hiding criticism, is it?
So I wrote them down. I wanted to apologize to Fedora Hippie. It's a good name, I like it. Majin Pink and Simone Fiasco. Those are just a few I wrote down who were really upset by it. And then also, of course, Francesca, who I talked about earlier in the video. Sorry.
On September 26, 2014, Shane released his apology video where he addressed most of his old videos that contained blackface and other racial humor, which he had deleted at the time.
This video is an apology. And it's not a fake apology. Nobody told me to do this. If anything, people told me not to do this. Or like, Shane, don't talk about this. It's just gonna raise more attention to it. It's just gonna, but I want to raise attention to it.
This video was 50% apology and 50% defense video, which in all fairness isn't that bad and it's nothing that wrong. The video effectively ended his old style of comedy, his old style of skits, and his old raunchy, edgy persona, and opened his channel up to a more genuine side of himself. Another video that would continue the trend of him opening up more to his channel was his coming out video as bisexual. By 2016, the Shane channel had already taken over the Shane Dawson TV channel, his skits being replaced with a more family-friendly, direct, and yet comfortable style of videos.
Go! Like, I'm not even lying, this is actually fucking everything. It's like salty and sweet and crunchy and weird, like all the adjectives for my ass.
However, the food videos didn't last for long as Shane's struggles with bulimia and eating disorders caught up to him and made it increasingly difficult for him to make such videos. Shane's next next style of content would be conspiracy theories, where he used to talk about, explain and discuss popular and sometimes obscure conspiracy theories.
That's right, the voicemail. This might be one of the most viral conspiracy theories I've ever seen. So I'm going to do a quick recap if you haven't heard about it, which I'm sure you have.
While not the best videos, these videos did their part and usually at the same quality as something you'd see from Matthew Santoro. Sane also experimented with vlog style confrontational videos where he used to meet people from his past and have a conversation with them. One of them would cause a bit more controversy than others. The Bobby Burns situation is a messy one and one that does not really have a singular person at fault. For context, Bobby Burns was an up-and-coming YouTuber that at the time made commentary videos. His videos were well sought, scripted and edited, and his commentary videos were well above the curve at the time, which allowed him to set himself apart from other commentary channels and allowed his channel to steadily pick up steam and grow.
YouTubers manipulate their audiences constantly, and most of the time the audience doesn't even know they're being manipulated.
In a video where Shane Dawson reacted to various criticism and hate videos made on him, Shane Dawson praised Bobby Burns' video for being obviously leagues above the rest of the videos and expressed that he wanted to collab with Bobby, and in a series called Confronting My Hater he did just that. And that's when things started going downhill. Seeing Bobby Burns' channel, he used to label his content like 1.0, 2.0 according to the style of video that he was making at the time, and at the time that he was becoming popular, he was being popular for his commentary videos, and that was Bobby Burns 4.0. However, after flying out to LA and moving there, I guess he transitioned this content to a more vlog style content, leaving his commentary videos and alienating a lot of his older audience. He shifted from Bobby Burns 4.0 to Bobby Burns 5.0. That obviously made his fans that came from commentary videos a bit dissatisfied. It also didn't help that once he confronted Shane Dawson, he backpedaled on most of his arguments made on his original video. He probably deleted his original video on Shane Dawson.
Terrible, terrible, terrible content.
It's that specific video that I was talking about. That specific series. It wasn't a problem that you talked about merch. The Illuminati pops, it was part of a bigger issue.
It makes me dumb.
I didn't say you were dumb, I said you looked dumb. Yeah, I've been a fan of your channel for forever. Yeah. Whenever I was really young, I wasn't allowed to get on YouTube by myself. So whenever I go over to like a friend's house, I'd like get on YouTube and like they'd be like doing something in the other room, and then they'd be like, "What are you doing?" Nothing. I would always like sneak to the other room and watch them.
What you're gonna do is be a woman of your word. Now you have to get his penis erect. So what you're gonna do is just suck his dick.
And it just felt like he was turning his back on his own audience in an attempt to win over Shane's audience. However, that wasn't really the case. See, being labeled as a hater indirectly put him in a negative light already, and Shane Dawson's audience thought that Bobby Burns didn't really deserve all the attention, all the kindness that Shane Dawson gave him. Like, the man literally gave him a car and a guest spot on his channel, and the fans thought that someone else deserved that position. They also felt like Bobby Burns was just using Shane Dawson for clout, and that obviously backfired on him too.
There are only 3 conclusions that I can draw from this. 1. Bobby decided to be a kiss ass in person because he's a pussy. 2. Bobby didn't actually believe any of the criticism that he gave in the video about Shane and just did it for views and attention rather than giving an actual critique. 3. Bobby decided to basically take back, in a way, everything he said about Shane and downplay his criticism because he wanted to take advantage of Shane's massive fan base and take a piece of the pie for his own. And personally, I believe the third.
Now Bobby Burns' channel is bleeding subscribers almost every single day. After a brief run at a musical career, I guess, he has announced that he'll be taking a break from that either, so it's pretty interesting what Bobby Burns 7.0 now has in store for his future. Again, there's no one particular to blame in here. There was a lot of moving parts and it's just an unfortunate series of events. No one could have predicted that, and again, it's more likely that Bobby Burns just made content that he was more comfortable with, since that's the nature of his channel. It's just sad to see how poorly timed everything was.
I've been a fan of your channel for
terrible, terrible content.
On January 10, 2018, popblast released a video accusing Shane Dawson for being a pedophile, citing an episode of the Shane and Friends podcast.
This child was probably 6 years old,
And I was taking a picture of something, and the kid turns to me and goes, "Oh, are you Instagramming?" And first of all, how does a 5-year-old, 6-year-old know what Instagram is?
Right.
Which is terrifying.
Mhm.
Second of all, I was embarrassed because yes, I was, and it was a picture of my salad. And the 6-year-old girl goes, "Oh, how many followers do you have?" I have 125,000.
No.
Her dick was almost as big as mine.
Really?
And I said, "Okay, little big dick, why do you have so many followers?" And she goes, "Oh, I'm a cheerleader." And I'm like, "Oh, really?" And she shows me her Instagrams, which are like, first of all, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but like, she's like sexy. She's like sexy.
You're disgusting.
I know. Listen, we've talked about pedophilia
No, this
before.
is Shane. Like, do not say this, and I don't even want to talk about it. Like, you will get arrested. Like, he kind of can.
Listen,
he has this
allegedly-
justification for pedophilia,
Okay.
and it's so disturbing. And like, I just pretend that he doesn't.
Okay, wait,
and, like,
no. Let me explain. Let me
No.
explain.
Oh, God.
Here's my justification for pedophilia.
I can't.
As I've already mentioned, we cannot really take the Shane and Friends podcast that seriously because more likely than not, Shane Dawson was playing a character back then. The same day, Shane Dawson would upload a video defending himself and painting the other video as not very credible for its editing and cutting out of segments and the dramatic nature of the video with ominous music.
Hi. I wanted to play that clip in full. I mean, that moment especially in full. Just for context, because that seems to be missing nowadays. I cannot believe that I am having to make this video. I cannot believe that this is happening. I'm going to start by saying I am not a fucking pedophile. I, Shane Yaw, my real name, go on record saying I am not a fucking pedophile. Got it? Great. Here's my statement. Because everybody's saying, Shane, make a statement. There's my statement. I'm not a fucking pedophile. It's disgusting that people are saying I'm a fucking pedophile because of some shitty ass fucking jokes from 6 years ago on a podcast. Now let me explain a little bit more. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to apologize first. I am sorry that I used to make really shitty fucking jokes. I am sorry that I was so fucking, like, insecure and, like, playing this character of this guy who's, like, crazy and will say anything and, like, tries to make people laugh by shocking them. That was my thing. That was what I did on YouTube. A lot of people now don't know that. If you started watching my videos more recently, you might not know that. But back in the day, from 2008 to 2012-ish, maybe 2013, that was my thing. I thought it was so... I loved the feeling of making somebody shocked and laugh because they couldn't believe what was coming out of my mouth. I wasn't confident enough to make smarter jokes.
After doing his conspiracy videos consistently, Shane Dawson would also experiment with a much more different video format, much akin to his confrontational videos. His docu-series essentially being a combination of the narrative structure of a documentary and the coziness of a vlog. His primary subjects of the videos being people that have either lost their relevance, seen a decline in popularity, or otherwise controversial and polarizing figures from the internet. As these videos were of higher quality and production, his uploads becoming more and more scarce and more meaningful every time he uploaded. His series of Tinacon propelling him to new highs, and his series with Jake Paul and Jeffree Star becoming bona fide YouTube events. The most common criticism levied against this series is that it gave platform for controversial figures, which is the dumbest argument, as the main purpose and what made the video so interesting is that controversial people were given a platform to talk about themselves and give their side of the story. I do get that some parts of the videos are over dramatized and some parts are kind of boring, but I guess it's not for everyone and people actually enjoy it, as some videos get over over 40 million views. My main problem is that Shane Dawson is very reactionary and he isn't a challenging interviewer and lets the influencer give their take without being held accountable at all. The Eugenia Cooney series is the one that has aged the most poorly, and people are criticizing Shane Dawson for manipulating his audience, for thinking that everything was all alright, everything was going to be fine, and everything's sunshine and happiness for now. But that really isn't the case. Shane made the videos after popular demand, and most of the videos, I mean almost all of the videos, is mostly talking about her past struggles, her recognizing her problems, and learning to accept the rehabilitation process.
For meals, it would be like an hour observation, and for like snacks, it would be like half an hour. When you go to the bathroom, you actually have someone like observing you. They'll be like outside the door. So it's a lot of like being watched, which is definitely really strange. And then as long as you're, I guess, like following the program and following the rules, then you can kind of like slowly earn privileges back. Like,
So, okay, so you're monitored a lot, and were you put on a food plan? Was there like...
They do put you on like a food plan, and how they would do it was, you would kind of have like, I guess, like some say in it, but they would kind of like slowly increase it and be giving you more. So definitely like, it kind of can seem like a lot when you're like going in there and suddenly like having to like eat so much. So yeah, that kind of, I guess, kind of hard at first. And you know, while I was there, like, I was kind of honestly like surprised. Like, I wasn't really like, when I moved out to LA, I wasn't really like regularly weighing myself. And then when I did like find out how low my weight was like compared to before, it was kind of like shocking to me, because I guess I didn't even realize, like I had people telling me, like my mom and, you know, a lot of like some of my friends and stuff, but I guess I didn't like really see that it was getting to that point really. So at the same time, like I guess I knew like I just had to do it, and like I had to like follow the program and like do what I had to do.
Yes, the tone of the video is a bit wistful and hoping for the optimistic future, but at the time it was in best interest of everyone that would have been the case. Shane probably wanted to provide this platform for her, as almost all of Eugenia's recent videos were getting dislike bombed and ratioed because again of her problems, and no one at the time expected her to have a relapse. The series about the conspiracy palette is very polarizing, and honestly I don't see why. Yes, the very nature of it makes it a bona fide ad, but the premise of it was an inside look at the creation of a makeup palette, and it did just that. I see that the alternate timeline is kinda confusing, but I guess it was done so that all of the payoffs would be kept at the end of the video for a more fitting climax.
But even that proved to be a scam, because they didn't even finish the series. They announced 9 episodes, released the palette after the 6th episode, and then they were like, you know what, we're just gonna take off now.
This is such a dumb point, as Shane had already said that all of the drama parts were mostly cut out per request of the involved parties, and the drama aspects were barely even shown in the trailer. And the thing is, the restocks were not happening until the next year, so there was literally nothing else to show. What, would you rather just see a whole video of Shane Dawson just drinking Diet Coke? Is that all you want? And not to mention the fact that Shane Dawson uploaded 2 more bonus episodes of this series in his 3rd channel. While a bit difficult to comprehend right now, in 2018 James wasn't the flawed but at the end of the day likable creator that he is right now. He was seen as this egoistic, reckless influencer that got into controversy after controversy, and at the time it was not only Tati who turned her back on James, but it was the entire internet. To better understand how exactly he became a target and how exactly and why exactly no one gave him the benefit of the doubt, was the Right Opinions video on this subject.
One of the hot takes circulating around Twitter currently is, with all the drama that James Charles has been involved in, why was it this one that should have taken him down? Is it just because straight people are looking to reinforce their fears against the scary gays? Especially when throughout the last few years, James Charles has supposedly been involved in multiple scandals with various people and various allegations. I mean, he really did have to catch them all. Racism, transphobia, inappropriate comments towards others, and alleged exploitation of fans. With this all in mind, guys, why wasn't he cancelled immediately? Was it because if James Charles came to your house with Ben Shapiro in blackface, the heteros would be more concerned about Ben Shapiro's safety? As hilarious as that thought would be, and I'm not suggesting it's completely out of the question, it's not exactly the case. You see, the devil's in the details. The way we can understand these previous dramas is actually as strong foundations for why people were so ready to turn on James Charles when the time came. So let's look at them, explain why they contributed to the scenario, but why he ultimately got away from them. James Charles is an impulsive person. I don't think that statement is remotely controversial. In many ways, that is what made him so monumentally popular. His speed of conversation and energy during videos really enhances his charisma in many ways. However, equally it means that he does not have a filter. Many like to envision their favorite creators as just only thinking lovely, wholesome thoughts throughout their career, but that's a load of bullshit. The truth is, you can think of anything at any time, the most twisted, broken, and often offensive thoughts that you keep inside your twisted mind to satisfy that craving of darkness that many have. The problem is, most public figures know exactly how many of those thoughts would be received if they decide to say it out loud. James Charles probably has some level of that, but clearly lacks the judgment that other figures in the beauty community have. And that can be found in many tweets and even videos, even ones that aren't inherently offensive, which is why he often says stuff and then deletes it 10 minutes later, because the emotional flashbang that went off in his head telling him publicly airing his dirty laundry was a great idea suddenly didn't seem such a fantastic initiative. However, his greatest weakness is also his greatest defense, because a lot of times he'll retract a comment very quickly and apologize from the bottom of his heart. And a lot of people don't like to go after people who've apologized and pledged to do better, because an apology is meant to be a resolution. The only time we might pursue it further is if we feel the apology isn't genuine, and therefore we think they'll keep up these habits. A lot of people didn't want to be seen as just continuously dragging someone out over stuff that they'd already apologized for. However, it did build a lot of resentment in people who have their suspicions about his intentions, and probably gave people an impetus to really come down on him when these videos inevitably came. So what needed to change about these scandals that would suddenly bring him down? I mean, all the stuff that had happened hadn't slowed his momentum. Another thing was, because the main scandals weren't too frequent, they'd often happen with some time between them. It never really had the capacity to snowball, because it kind of happened in brief spurts of interest, rather than one continuous, ongoing scenario. And although there were people with clear vendettas against him, they're not going to be the ones subscribed to him. Now, when various scandals arise, the biggest problem with public response is that it often takes the form of many different narratives. So if we take James Charles's tweets, for example, the one about Ebola, some may say, this proves James Charles is a racist and should be cancelled. Others might say, well, I don't think he's a racist and shouldn't be cancelled, but he should apologise. And because of this dissent within the group of critics, you're going to have trouble outshining James Charles's response, because he'll present one narrative that represents his mindset. It's like party politics, and in a way, it's not an inherently unhealthy thing. But James Charles will present his perspective, and with all that momentum behind him, he's going to get the backing of people who want to believe he's an impulsive lad who just can't think straight sometimes. Essentially, if James Charles was going to actually have a wake-up call, you'd need one person to bring a singular narrative forward. Infiltration had to come from the inside, and that could only come from a creator not just in the beauty community, but one with experience and one with respect. The sort of figure who has the power to giveth and taketh away. Also, given the closure on a lot of these previous incidents, a person who calls them out would also have to be typically calling them out for new drama, or drama that at least James Charles hadn't personally addressed or faced down any consequences for. This is where we introduce Tati Westbrook. Tati Westbrook is one of the most senior creators in the beauty community. She's 37 years of age and owner of the company Halo Beauty, which sells products related to skin, hair, and nail treatment primarily. As someone with a few more years on her, she definitely comes across with a bit more dignity than most. She also has an extensive history of working with James Charles and a constant run of promoting his products and supporting him, so it's very likely there is a significant overlap in audiences between the two creators. This is an important point to note. People like I'm Alex and so on can call out James Charles any day of the week. It won't have a huge effect because firstly, as a perceived outsider, these creators carry less credibility in their experience. And secondly, there's just not the same overlap in audience that can cause an exodus from James's channel. All of these factors make Tati an important puzzle piece. But what was the fresh drama? Well, there's this event called Coachella. This is a pretty popular music festival that is attended by many icons. And when James got there, shock horror, he needed security. Who would have thought? But do not fear. A company by the name of Sugar Bear Hair had a contract and would help them out if he could promote their fantastic product. So he did. But Sugar Bear Hair is a primary competitor of Halo Beauty, and Tati felt upset by this, so she posted a story to her Instagram explaining her upset, and although not calling him out, pretty much implying that she was talking about James. James, seeing this after the expiration of his promotion, posted a public response stating that he was sorry to Tati and wasn't thinking about it at the time. Very typical James Charles. So the drama's over. Right? Right? Wrong.
Hey you guys, welcome to today's video. Obviously from the title you know that this is going to be intense, different, and this is absolutely not a video I ever thought in a million years that I would be making.
You see, in many ways, there were many people ready to pounce on a significant anti-James Charles story. There have been people discussing it for ages, but only Tati Westbrook could make it the perfect storm of destruction. Whether that was her intention, I cannot say. I think it would have been hard to foresee such an outcome, but it's what happened, and it was enabled by all the previous factors considered. However, with that said, a good exposed video would still require a careful sensitivity about it. However, using the templates of last year's drama, you could identify what works. Not being over-emotional.
So sorry, you guys. I'm so sorry for disappointing you. It hurts me so bad.
Establishing credibility not just as a person with experience, but also a person with positive intent.
There's something about him that I just adore and love, and he'll grow out of this and he'll mature, and I want to be someone that can give him solid advice, and there's something in my heart that is pulled to him, and I love him, and I am there for this kid through and through. And I really have been, and there's so much that you guys don't know.
And providing a valid set of reasons for why you're doing what you're doing.
And I'm going to share a lot of it with you because I feel at this point that I have to, because Gabriel Zamora decided to drag me out on the dance floor by calling me out by name in a video that he made about opinions in makeup.
Now, as tonal presentation goes, it's really a masterstroke in every area. Tati seems calm but not disinterested. It's a video that carries a lot of dignity and exactly what Charles's critics would have wanted in harming his reputation. Of course, there was very little actual evidence, but circumstantially to a community, everything added up. When taking someone down, the key is to undermine their redeemability. This is dispatched very early on in the first few minutes by Tati, who presents herself as one of the people who has openly defended James Charles and given him multiple opportunities to redeem himself.
And for someone that I helped when no one would, asking for absolutely nothing in return, never asking for a payback, never asking for a dime, any of the deals that were structured, if anyone ever offered a kickback, we'd say no, put it in James's pocket, help James, help him. You know, anytime I had an opportunity to help him make money, I would. If I could give him advice, I did. If he needed a safe landing, I was here. I have so much empathy for people, and I really want to see people grow and step into themselves, and I'm more the person to ask, like, well, what made you feel that you needed to do XYZ? Like, what happened to you? Or like, why do you feel like you need to do that? I can't be the person to point and write people off very quickly. Like, it takes a lot for me to really want to not be associated with someone. And so I've always had a really forgiving heart because I know to get here, I've required a lot of forgiveness myself.
If we believe someone can get better, then we're more likely to forgive them. However, there's a point of no return where that tolerance is broken. By presenting herself as one of Charles's biggest defenders, she also made her attack all the more damaging, and the way she expresses herself is extremely relatable. I have many people who I know I've taken the sort of wise man figure in, even though I think they've probably done some really stupid shit. Many of us believe in people's capability to get better, especially when it's our friends, and Tati clearly shows herself as a friend who has just lost that tolerance. With the new drama, she had fresh allegations to show that he's been behaving in the same way that he has been, and importantly, she focuses on the responses, and therefore underlines the redundancy of them. In a video that was later posted by the waiter in question, he states that he was, quote, bi-curious, but after the engagement felt like he was straight. On one hand, this doesn't completely reflect Westbrook's retelling of the story, but on the other hand, the DMs the waiter showed clearly demonstrated a coercive side of Charles, telling this person he wasn't actually straight, even if it does come across as more desperate than anything. Charles was definitely the assertive one in this scenario, and also the one with significant amount of power, and James's retelling of the event doesn't quite reflect the DMs either. In the days following Tati's video, there was eventually a swelling among some commentators that she wasn't being honest. I could completely see where they were coming from, and in many ways the lack of evidence was cause for concern. However, a lot of the testimony was allegedly based on private conversation, of which I could understand why both parties might be hesitant to release. And given James's dumpster fire of an initial response, it did seem hard to deny. There was of course other testimonies such as the waiters that did appear to somewhat contradict the stories, but once again he could have been leaving out context. Honestly, anyone could have. Either way, something didn't sit right, and the critics were onto something. And then James clapped back. In James's video titled No More Lies, he reversed the momentum onto Tati and onto Jeffree Star, who had also made some quite inflammatory tweets. Some suggested that he hadn't/wouldn't clap back because the momentum was so unequivocally against him there was no way he could respond that would turn the tide if he was genuinely innocent.
Mainly targeted Jeffree Star, but with one comment put both Shane and Jeffree in a conspiracy theory that they were the masterminds behind it all.
When we were in the hotel, and I was in his hotel, and we were just chilling. We were talking to Rich Lux again and a few other people, and I was talking to Jeffree, and I remember Shane Dawson called, and he was going off about James Charles and something, and telling, like, just like cursing James out, and I was just like kind of taken back because I've never seen Shane Dawson like that, and he was just going in on James. And I was like, oh, is there like there's something like brewing, there's something going on with James and Shane and Jeffree. So I was just uncomfortable, and I just was like, I'm gonna stay over here. I don't even know what to do. I was really small at this point. I'm still pretty small, and I was just like, I'm not saying anything.
Saying that Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star orchestrated the whole thing to sell more of their makeup is a bit ridiculous, given that Shane and Jeffree were already assured to reach over 20 million views per videos, and no amount of marketing would put James Charles to nearly be a direct competition towards their makeup palette. And Jeffree Star sabotaging someone who is the highest earner of a company that he supposedly has equity on seems kinda far-fetched. Till date, it's very hard to figure out what really happened behind the scenes, and the puzzle still seems unsolved. Well then, let me present my hypothesis. So you're Shane Dawson, and all summer you hear all the gossips about James Charles, all the mess-ups, all the controversies, and probably even that voice memo.
The truth is that someone, and right now I legally can't say who, told us a few things. And we trusted that person's opinion. And then another person said some things that was friends with that man, and it really convinced us. Yeah, it's similar, but it's people that are in our community that are saying things, and I don't know if they're true or not. If you want, we can pause and I can go in another room and play Banks what I have on my phone, and he can determine if he would have sent the same tweet. At the end of the day, I'm not going to out a victim of James Charles.
Okay.
Yeah, we.
If it's real, because I don't know if it's real, and I'll go in the other room and play it for you.
He then provided me with receipts of a voice memo from a YouTuber who was allegedly sexually molested by James Charles, and it's credible. It's a YouTuber. It's credible. It is not my place to out this YouTuber's name at all. I had privately reached out to this YouTuber and said, hey,
enough is enough. You call up the biggest connection that you have into the beauty community and you just start a rant, and meanwhile Cameron Lester is there to listen. And then James promotes a rival brand to Tati Westbrook, and that leaves her crying in her Instagram story. And then the drama channels start to bug Tati, calling her out to be over dramatic over small things, and then she's put in a position where she has to release something to clear up her side. Shane probably reassured Tati and supported her as a good friend. Shane's involvement seems pretty minimal compared to Jeffree Star, who publicly went after James and made various tweets harassing him. Rather than someone who orchestrated the whole thing and was the mastermind, Shane's involvement seems pretty reactionary and at the very worst seems to be an enablerist of Tati's video.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
By April 2020, all of the speculations and theories had mounted to Shane Dawson releasing an official statement on Twitter, and again it reads out as someone that was observing the drama rather than someone that masterminded and orchestrated the whole thing.
Leading to Shane's announcement on Twitter saying that he was departing from the beauty community. There are many things readers took away from Shane's statements. First was the reason he was departing, saying he wanted to get away from all the volatile drama and it was not good for his mental health. He then goes on to say he did not direct the cancellation of James Charles, adding that while he knows Jeffree is extremely problematic and he understands he is similar to the people he is removing himself from, he still considers him a friend. This announcement read off as if Shane was above all of this drama and was seemingly taking the high ground and detaching himself from it. Conveniently right after he made a fortune selling makeup with Jeffree Star and also restocking the makeup, though he denies it had anything to do with money. Something that is repeatedly cited when others reference Shane's post is this segment. Quote, "Do I think James is the devil? No. Do I think he was a young, egocentric, power-hungry guru who needed to be served a slice of humble pie the size of the fucking Empire State Building? Yes." Unquote. He then made a follow-up tweet referencing this segment, saying that he had no malice intent towards James Charles, and that he simply needed to be humbled. The following day, possibly due to all the negative attention, this tweet and his previous announcement were deleted by Shane. But this did very, very little to stop the beauty community from digging up Shane's old baggage, and dug up some things that he already addressed and apologized for in the past. But this time, people dug just a little further, and found more clips that, though they do fall under his many apologies, have not been individually addressed.
Most of the things that were brought back up were things that I've already talked about in this video. In response to this, Shane Dawson uploaded an apology video in which he apologized and addressed almost everything, though he didn't go in a point-by-point individual level, which is frankly impossible given the amount of clips that were there.
Suck. I don't know who that person is anymore. Every apology video I've ever made has been from fear. It's me sitting at home thinking the whole world hates me, and crying and hyperventilating, and then just turning on a webcam and just saying I'm sorry, and then hoping people know I'm a good person, and then it'll go away. And that is stupid. That is something that a child does, not something that a 31-year-old man does. That's not good. Right now is very much a time of wanting people to be accountable, wanting punishment for people, and I agree. And that's why I'm making this video. I saw Jenna Marbles' video, and it really inspired me. Felt like a sign from the universe that I want to do this. So this video,
even though it's his best apology video yet, it got overshadowed by the fact that the Smiths refused it and Tati Westbrook's 40-minute long expose video on both Shane and Jeffree. D'Angelo's video is currently the most extensive and the longest expose video on Shane Dawson. The main problem arises when the entire foundation of the video is the fact that Shane Dawson has not grown and changed, and is primary and only evidence of that being Shane Dawson's live reaction to Tati Westbrook's video.
Except for this last time. And that's because relying on your default strategy of claiming everything bad you ever did was a joke and you didn't know it was bad and you're actually a good person doesn't really hold up when you're letting people watch you do bad things in real time. So this live stream that Shane did marked the end of his series of unfortunate PR fiascos, and on its own, it's a mildly entertaining thing. Somebody did something weird online, I have strong opinions about that, which I share with you, and then the whole comment section talks about how good I look. Pretty standard stuff for my YouTube channel. But the issue is this situation is kind of deeper than that. It's kind of darker than that. From a glance, this whole live stream thing just seems like an isolated incident. But there is an undercurrent. Shane's losing so many followers because his nice guy persona was starting to unravel at the seams.
Which doesn't prove anything, as Shane's reaction is completely normal and falls completely in line. Leaving aside the fact that Shane Dawson has mentioned countless amount of times that he has anxiety issues, you'd have to be a complete sociopath not to react the way Shane reacted. Just imagine that you're being cancelled and one of your friends releases an exposé video on you while you're being cancelled, reaffirming the hate mob. This is not a breaking of character moment that dangelowallace wants you to believe. Rather, it's actually what you would expect. Here's how Shane Dawson reacted to the whole cat situation.
I never actually documented like one of these controversy moments, because this is something that's real, right? Like when I met you, I think I even said, get ready, at some point Twitter's gonna try to cancel me and I'm gonna have a breakdown, I'm gonna pop a pill, I'm gonna get really sad, I'm gonna start spiraling, I'm gonna literally say, I'm gonna kill myself, and then Ryland's gonna have to hold me and say, you're gonna be fine, baby, and then I'll tweet an apology and then I'll feel a little bit better, but I'll still spiral and eat and drink, right?
I cannot believe that I am having to make this video. I cannot believe that this is happening. I'm going to start by saying I am not a fucking pedophile. I, Shane Yaw, my real name, go on record saying I am not a fucking pedophile.
It's pretty similar to what we see in Shane Dawson's live reaction to Tati's video.
The whole ordeal was less than 3 minutes long, but the damage had been done. At its peak, almost 250,000 people watched Shane in real time run around and discredit sexual abuse victims.
Calling this an exaggeration is an understatement. Shane Dawson was reacting to an expose video made on him. Shane just commented on how Tati Westbrook was being kind of manipulated by unnecessarily bringing up our sexual abuse, and yes, D'Angelo passing the whole stream off as Shane discrediting victims of sexual abuse. D'Angelo also makes these outlandish claims,
and they wound up getting groomed, basically. Now, I'm not blaming Shane Dawson for anybody's assault or anything like that, but what I'm saying is the content that he was creating and marketing it towards children has the exact same effect as child grooming. That's the point, to put these kids in sexual situations and conversations. And speaking of abuse, what's most disturbing to me is that that was a plot line in Hey Millie's whole channel, was that this 8-year-old fictional puppet was a victim of sexual abuse.
Whoa! That reminds me of the thing that my dad used to shove in my mouth when I was 3. Memories.
And then when you couple that with the fact that Shane Dawson himself has said that he makes content for victims of sexual abuse, he said it as like an offhand remark, but still.
My videos are about making people laugh. But also, like, in a serious note, I like to put in messages or things that I went through when I was a kid, like being self-conscious or dealing with abuse or dealing with, overeating, all that stuff, and put those messages in a funny video so that kids actually watch and relate, and they don't feel like they're being taught, like they actually get the message in a fun way.
Okay.
It's like an after-school special with dick jokes.
You start realizing that Millie was basically crafted to be Shane Dawson's viewer.
Firstly, Shane Dawson's initial audience was mainly young adults that later expanded, and secondly, saying that Shane made his videos primarily to attract a younger audience is also false, as his style of comedy and style of sketches preceded YouTube. He made similar videos before he started uploading it on YouTube, and as a creator you really don't have any control over who watches your videos. And Hates Millie is a satirical parody of Kids Muppets show, and if it seems wrong, that was the fucking point of the show. Even that really doesn't matter because it's a fictional character and nothing really wrong happened with an actual minor, and if you have a problem with fictional characters used in that way, then there are bigger problems. In this clip, Shane was just saying how he puts his own past trauma and jokes about it in his videos as a way to cope with it, not that he was specifically making his videos for victims and actively seeking them out. Okay, dangelowallace claims that his videos were copyright claimed and that's why you can see the ads. I'm not entirely sure how YouTube works, but usually when there's a copyright claim you can see like the title and the artist below the video, but D'Angelo's video you don't really see that, so that's kind of sketchy. I want to pull that up. Adam McIntyre, I really don't have much to say about it. His content is pretty
terrible, 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 terrible content.
and his videos are very boring. That's all I wanted to point out.
Sanders Kennedy here with another video, and the title of this video is not clickbait. Shane Dawson is really being investigated by the LA Sheriff's Department. Let's roll the intro so we can talk all about it.
So this guy literally fabricated an entire story just to get more views, and he was exposed in one of the best moments of AugierFC streams.
Hello, can I speak to Sergeant Payne from LA County Sheriff's Department?
Okay, do you know what station he works with?
What station she works with?
What city does she work
Oh, what city? Yeah, Los Angeles.
Investigating.
So there's no investigation.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, is this Sergeant Payne?
I'm sorry?
Can I speak to Sergeant Payne?
Sergeant Callahan?
Sergeant Payne.
Sergeant Payne.
We don't have a Sergeant Payne.
I might have called the wrong place.
Okay.
Alright. He's so stupid, dude.
He fucked it up, bro.
He's like, I just killed my family.
He's so retarded.
Can I possibly speak to Deputy Sheriff Marvin Payne?
He can't hear us. Wait.
He can't hear us, by the way. He can't hear us.
He's retired?
Oh my god.
Oh. I guess but thank you.
No.
Wait, actually, before do you guys have a possible would you know she hung up.
Alright, Nick, if you don't call them in 1 minute, I'm ending the stream.
Alright, who are we calling up?
Please remain on the line and your call will be answered in the order received. To ensure quality service, your call will be monitored.
I hate this song.
I can't believe we're doing this shit again.
I hate this song so much.
I may direct your call.
Hi, my name is Nick. I was wondering if you could connect me to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department in Temple City, California. I'm looking for a Marvin Payne. I believe he's a sergeant.
Okay, in Temple City, give me 1 second.
Thank you very much.
Wow, Nick actually knows how to talk on the phone like a fucking adult. Jesus. Why did
I'm
we
just like-
let the two youngest people in here call, dude?
Dude, I call into the police department, I'm just like, Sergeant Payne.
My name's Nick. I was told there's an investigation into like an influencer, Shane Dawson. Is that does that ring a bell? Because I was told to call this line if I had any information.
Okay, who was Shane?
Shane Dawson. He's a famous internet person. I was told that there was an investigation line open for anybody who had any instances with him. They were calling it, I believe, they were saying it was like a criminal investigation tip line.
I don't know
number.
what you're talking about. Is this what city?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be in Temple City, California.
Okay, and then how long ago was this incident?
I've been told this is like something that's fairly recent. Like there's a tip line open for it, and this was that number.
Okay, let me transfer you to the detective. You can leave a message. I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you very much.
Ooh, we got a new track. This is the closest we got yet. She sounds so fed up. She probably has. She has no idea.
Hello, this is Secretary Jimmy Lee of the Temple City Detective Bureau. I am not a detective, but I will forward your message. So at the tone, please leave your name, number, case number, and the reason for your call, and we'll get back to you. Thank you.
Record your message at the tone. When you are finished, hang up or press
Wait,
pound.
is he gonna say his number? All right, I'm just gonna mute him just in case he's like saying like his personal information or whatever. Okay, I have him at 0. I don't know if I'm supposed to play this or if he's like. I don't know, guys.
It's probably fake. Like we've done enough events.
It's like I said before. I'm saying it's fake because they would have
All
provided.
right, let me know when to unmute Nick because I don't want to be
we
like
needed to get to the
broadcasting
right
him if he
department.
says like his actual number.
Oh, he's not saying it. Unmute.
I'm not saying my phone number. I'm not
Okay,
saying
okay.
that.
I just had you muted just
But
in
you
case.
guys hear me okay? Like I was
Yeah,
listening
yeah,
to you
yeah.
guys.
Yeah, just mute him.
My
Just
chat
mute him
didn't
either
hear me
way.
okay, but the audio is Yeah, I muted Aiden.
For what? I didn't even do anything.
Because you kept talking while the phone was ringing and I couldn't concentrate. All right, so I think it's pretty safe to say we've just gotten to the bottom of that. The woman was very bothered the fact that I asked about Shane Dawson.
Yeah, maybe she's been asked that a lot today, or like a couple times.
Yeah.
Alright.
I'm sure we're not the first to be doing this.
What? So why is this like big? The YouTuber who made this video is pretty big, right? I saw his followers on Twitter, and it's like 30K.
Fucking garbage.
Yeah.
So why is this?
Spillcess is one of those channels that went along with the pedophile allegation and pushed it, and her second channel is not transformative and hope it gets DMCA'd again and taken down. Without the Crystal Ball is also an interesting figure right now. She will literally take anything that makes the other side look bad and run with it. She was also one of those persons that ran with the Sanderskendy's false investigation story, and she will go to obscene lengths to try and make the other side look bad, which is entirely obsessive and sometimes pretty fucking insane and ridiculous.
So all day long, I was doing research, you guys. Research, I tell you. Remember how I told you I was going to try to do something where I exposed Tati Westbrook? And I was like, looking, and I've been doing this for 2 days straight now. 2 days, thinking I would find something. When I started digging into her background, and I have looked all over the place, you guys, everywhere, because part of what I do is I super chat? What do you mean super chat? You can give me a super chat if you wanted to give me a super chat. But part of what I do is I like to look into people that sell snake oil to see if they have stuff in their background that would make them less than honorable, something that might indicate that they are, you know, there's something legal going on, they have a criminal background, they have a criminal history, they owe money, they have like a reputation for doing all these things. And then when you go to her mother's page or her sister's pages, who are all still there, they're all like, she doesn't exist as a part of their family anymore. It's crazy. I started playing around even more and digging through more and more information, going through marriage records and through birth certificates. I couldn't even find her birth certificate, which is weird. There's like 0 records of her father, like 0 records. So then I start going on and I'm like getting into this conspiracy, thinking like her dad is dead, or like why doesn't her dad have a job, or her dad's in the mafia. So then I start digging through addresses and phone numbers and email addresses and doing all of these searches and going through businesses and looking at all this different stuff to try to like connect some dots. So I feel like there's a story here with her dad, and I'm not sure what it is. We're gonna have to keep looking there. And then there's something with her mom too, and I'm just gonna have to keep digging. I'll keep digging and keep looking on the Tati stuff, but I don't want to spend, like, I've wasted 2 days now trying to find something.
She also cannot take criticism, and if anyone has something negative to say for her, she'll probably threaten to sue them, and she's currently in a lawsuit against Tati Westbrooks, and she's probably gonna lose. Tati Westbrooks. I genuinely think that she's delusional. I think the amount of hate she received after last year, she's probably delusional, and she to herself believes that she's the victim in this scenario, which she is not. If you actually watch her video and pay complete attention, you'll see the ridiculous statements and the dumb shit that she says in the video. It's completely insane. I mean, you can say she's at least donating to charity, but look at the charity. It's some fucking spiritual ass fucking shit that you have been donating to all this time.
ft.Turkeytom.org. Description: all of the AdSense proceeds from this video are being donated to spiritawakening.org. Okay, yeah, she's insane.
Dude, she's literally manic in this video. She's insane.
With subtweets and innuendo that there was a huge drama around the corner. I felt that I was a liability to them and that I knew too much. So I put all of my text messages and other files on a hard drive and told a few people that I was afraid for my life.
What? You're afraid for your life? What is on that hard drive?
Wait, hang on. What's the context to this?
She about to get Clinton.
What are these text messages about? Who knows?
Because of the drama last year. She's got text messages with Shane and Jeffrey. Shane and Jeffrey are going to kill her?
And had given everything to my lawyers. I was hoping that information would leak, as I thought it might keep me safe.
Oh fuck, I gotta unmute it, dude.
She has information that she gave to her lawyers on a hard drive, and she was hoping it'd leak so it would keep her safe. Safe from fucking what? How does it leak on a hard drive that's unplugged, Tati? It's impossible. She doesn't even know how technology works.
Well, they're gonna kill her and then steal the hard drive. That's what they're gonna do.
My mental and physical health suffered. My business...
If that happens, don't blame me, motherfucker. I'm clowning.
I could tell her mental and physical health suffered. I see it right here. Her mental health is degraded to nothing. It's crazy.
Has suffered. A year later, it is now my opinion that James Charles was not their only intended target. I believe that there are many different people who have unclean hands in all of this.
The Illuminati.
And there was a coordinated plan to keep me quiet and push me out of the way for other business reasons. I do not think it's a coincidence that Morphe is about to launch their own brand of hair, skin, nail gummy vitamins.
Yo, listen to this shit.
For vitamins. They're meant... What the fuck? Morphe, the multinational company.
Hang on. James Charles wasn't their only target. Didn't she start the whole James Charles thing?
She started the drama, dog.
Yeah, but she was coerced into it, Willie. You don't understand.
Dude, but she was coerced into it by Morphe because of vitamins? Hold on. Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star don't sell vitamins. One, why do generic vitamins, generic beauty vitamins, mean that they're trying to get rid of Tati? As if Tati corners the generic beauty vitamin market.
Wasn't this how Matrix went down? Morpheus did something about pills and then she had to pick.
Dude, it's the Matrix. You cracked the code, bro. Let's watch more.
It was crazy.
Let's watch more.
I do not think it was just Shane and Jeffrey that stood to benefit from my being silenced. This was just too big. I think there were many players. And I have every intention of getting to the truth.
Yo, I wonder what her husband... Dude, does her husband, like, talk to her about this? Like, hey, honey, you need to chill.
She's manic, bro. She's literally insane. It got
this is what happened.
Big? What got too big?
Damn, man.
All right, here, let me show 1847. This is one of my favorite parts. Let's look at this.
He's gonna go off, guys.
He's talking about Jeffree Star here.
My community.
Right.
This worried me about
Star
him.
Has dirt on people.
And I stayed and I tried my best to be a positive influence. My opinion, he's gonna go off, guys. And I don't think anyone, I don't think he will hold back. And I think we need to be prepared.
What does that mean? What are y'all doing behind the scenes? What are y'all doing?
What did she do? What does Jeffree Star have on her where she's so scared? She is so
That's what the problem
worried.
is, isn't it?
Look how worried she is here.
Well, yo, Willie, let's be real though. If she is that crazy and concerned and she flips out over vitamins, I think probably whatever Jeffrey got is one of those somebody is holding something over you that's stupid and not a big deal to like regular people. But these motherfuckers are so tripped in their head, dude. Like, they're fucking twisted. That something small, maybe, I don't know, maybe she fucking slapped some dude's ass at a strip club or something they all went to. Like, that's career ending in her brain.
Bro.
And everybody else is like, okay, so what, bitch?
Bro,
you know,
good
like,
theory. My theory is right here. You're hearing my theory live. She killed somebody. Look at that face. Look at that fucking face. You only make that face when you murder.
Would not surprise me.
That's How did I not see that? Yeah, you're right.
Look at that face, man.
Yeah, don't listen to me. That for sure. That's what happened.
She is looking into the fucking gates of hell here.
Terrified, yeah.
You have to take this frame for your thumbnail.
Oh Oh my god.
Like that.
You see
that is
why?
too
You see
good.
why clowning is important, because there might be some people that watch all this shit go down, and we're like, oh my god, this is huge, this is big, and then when you hear people clowning, it's kind of like, well, yeah, actually,
It just puts into perspective, doesn't it?
yeah.
Laughing puts stuff into perspective.
It's it's so crazy. Breaking my silence. How dramatic.
Let's go to 1940. This is another good part.
I was blind.
I don't know.
I was
man.
so
That
blind.
was perfect.
Like, what is she? What is over there? What is it meant to write?
That's where Jeffree Star is sitting in the room right in front of her. Dog.
Yeah, they got someone there with a gun pointed at her head.
No matter how blind
Read the script, say the line.
You know what this is? The microphone's so good because it's a shotgun mic straight at her face that we can't hear the actual mobsters like it was in Scarface invading her home right now, and the last thing she's ever gonna do is make this video.
Dude, this is some Marina Joyce shit, dude. They got it lined up. Dude, she keeps looking over here. I was blind? Bullshit. You're seeing something right now. She's seeing something. You ain't blind.
Dude, you know, it'd be awesome if some of these content creators after the fact, like her, dude, it would be so sick if she came out like a month, 2 months from now and like watched this video and was like, y'all, don't listen to me. I was crazy. You know, like fucking, but like be like a real person, right? It's like, look at me, I'm talking shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm a
I would
fucking
love
psycho in this picture.
if she came out and was like, these people are clearly hired by Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star and Morphe. If she came out and she was like,
you're so blind. Yeah.
You guys are blind. And she turns the camera and she is straight up looking into the Jeffree Cosmetics aisle, and they're putting dead puppies in the makeup.
Oh
Like,
my god,
dude,
that would
it's
be
gonna
epic.
some shit. There's like Tati Westbrook is taking children's blood, like dead fetuses, and putting in her vitamins. That's what I think it is.
Jesus.
It's some shit, dude. It's some fucking shit.
Oh my god.
Fuck, man, this is one of the greatest videos ever, and nobody's gone into it super deep. Things, dude, she is so sure in her own head that it can't be her fault. Because in her head, she's such a great person. So I think she subconsciously cannot take blame for this.
Well, dude, if she believes what she's saying and all of that by account is true, right? Factually, but the way you interpret what happened in the context of who you are as a person involved, she might see herself like this and be just because she's probably naive, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She doesn't.
When James Charles and I met, that I started to realize what had actually happened. Over the next few months, a few people have bravely come forward with more information, and the pieces of what we believe actually happened are coming together. Make no mistake, this is far from over. I've been terrified for a very long time, so much so that I had to relocate again 2 months ago, and I have taken serious security precautions to ensure my safety. On the advice of my attorneys, I cannot share with all of you right now the evidence that we have accumulated of the events that have occurred. However,
did somebody die
there
during
will
that
soon come
drama?
a day where we will be able to present this evidence, and you will be able to see why it is we believe that Jeffree and Shane are responsible for so much of the damage that has been caused. I can tell you this. It's now my opinion that Jeffree and Shane were both bitterly jealous of James Charles's success. Jeffree resented that so...
Hold on.
Okay, I have two theories.
Dude, bro, she motherfucking said she had to relocate with the security team. Twice. This is her second relocation.
Wait, twice?
She said, I've had to relocate again for my own safety.
Yo, you know what's funny? Remember fucking Shane Dawson, when in that video of him on IG started going around and he's like grabbing his head, he's like, oh my god, this bitch is crazy, and everybody was like
Shane
clowning
Dawson
him.
was thinking she's still alive? The fuck? I killed her. She's alive?
No, but some people, I saw on Twitter, people were just like, and the truth comes out, look at him. You know, I don't remember who, but I'm saying they were like, look at him. Now he's being so, this is the real Shane Dawson. I was like, dude, if a girl was saying this crazy shit in front of millions of people about me, I would probably flip the fuck out too. You know what I'm saying? Not like I'm guilty, but I would be in that mode of like, what is she saying right now, dude? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Shane Dawson suffers from severe anxiety. He reacts that way to everything. Like, it's
So where do we end off here? While Shane Dawson is teasing the fact of a return, I don't think he'll come back until next year, and I don't really think that Shane Dawson is unworthy of the cancelling, because in retrospect he has really done some fucking messed up shit that he was never properly punished for. But Shane Dawson is also one of those rare cases of creators who, after apologizing and taking accountability, didn't go back to the same behavior and truly try to make a change in their content and change the style of the content and made something that was actually better. And also the narrative that Shane Dawson is wearing a mask for like the past 5 years is also kind of wrong. Like, for me, I think it's exactly the opposite. I think when Shane Dawson first started out YouTube, he started out with a character that he used to play, and slowly started revealing more genuine sides of himself rather than having a more facade, let's say, that D'Angelo likes to put it. So yeah, that's all I have to say for this topic right now. As you can guess, this video really took a long time to make, and it's something that kinda was hard to make. It really did take a toll on me, and I guess see you next month. Until then, let me sleep.
I live in a constant state of fear and misery. Do you miss me anymore?